Crime happens all over the world, and so do court cases. The spectacle of the driven prosecutor, the impassioned defense attorney, and the accused, whose fate hangs in the balance of court, always comes with some controversial court cases and dramatic moments. Hello folks, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be sharing with you the top 10 most disturbing and shocking court cases and moments ever happened in recent times. 10. The death of baby Caliyah. A pair of Georgia parents, Courtney Marie Bell and Christopher McNabb, were found guilty in March 2019 of killing their infant daughter Caliyah. McNabb was convicted on 8 counts, including malice murder, while Bell was convicted on 3 counts, including the murder of the second degree. On October 7, 2017, Bell reported that her daughter was missing from a bedroom in the trailer park where the couple lived. The next day, the infant's body was found in a wooded area right next to the trailer park. The baby died of blunt force head trauma, according to a Covington News report from 2018. However, both maintained their innocence. The defense claimed that someone broke in, took the child, and killed her while the couple slept. "I'm innocent, I didn't do it. I've maintained that the whole time," McNabb said in the court, whereas Bell cried in the court and expressed, "Y'all know I didn't do this." Bell also tried proving her innocence by referring to her sickness of methamphetamine addiction. The alleged culprit, McNabb, was also blamed by the prosecutor of fake love, crying and tears in front of the media in his interviews, and what he did in the court was also a joke. Prosecutors said that the couple smoked meth before killing Caliyah, stating that McNabb killed the child while Bell's negligence contributed to that murder. McNabb was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Bell received 30 years in prison, with 15 years to serve, plus another 10-year sentence to serve at the same time. However, in 2022, Bell was released of the conviction by the state court, stating that the prosecution failed to provide sufficient evidence against her. A reversal of the original conviction, proving that justice can sometimes be elusive. 9. Franklyn Williams sentenced while mouth shut by tape. Franklyn Williams, who was convicted of multiple felonies, including armed robberies, and fleeing in Cleveland, Ohio, was shut up by wrapping red duct tape around his mouth. The defendant was trying to complain about the authorities, but the Ohio judge John Russo lost his patience against the talkative convict. "Mr. Williams, I'm the judge in the matter. Shut your mouth, and I will tell you when you can talk, you got it?" said Russo. However, Williams kept talking, even as his attorney stood to speak to the court, which compelled the judge to order deputies to shut his mouth with tape. He complained that the judge wasn't letting him tell his side of the court. The sentence ended up being 24 years behind bars. This is highly condemning and humiliating. According to me, it just doesn't deprive that person of the opportunity to speak before his life is taken away. It steals his dignity as well. What are your thoughts on this court proceeding? Do share with us in the comment section below. 8. The Caliyah Gamut murder case. Caliyah was found guilty of murdering her 30-year-old boyfriend Marcel Hill, while both shared an apartment in Jackson, Michigan. A jury convicted Gamut of the offense of beating and stabbing to death Hill, who had 11-inch sharp force trauma wounds, according to testimony. Officers found smashed furniture, a broken floor lamp, a bloody fillet knife, and a frying pan covered in blood inside the apartment. According to the prosecutor, Gamut had deliberately and knowingly beaten, stabbed, and slashed the victim to death. Jackson County Circuit Judge John McBain angrily said, "You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead." He added, "I hope you die in prison." We do acknowledge some intemperate remarks by McBain made during Gamut's sentencing, but these comments were made at the sentencing hearing and had no bearing on the jury's finding of guilt. What are your thoughts on this dramatic moment? 7. The bizarre case of Kimberly Kessler. Kimberly Kessler was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Jolene Cummings. The case began with the disappearance of Jolene Cummings in Yulee, Nassau County, Florida. They worked at a Nassau County salon with Kessler, which became one of the strangest mysteries in recent times. She worked in the salon under a fake name. She was reportedly on the run for over 25 years and wanted in several states. She continuously blamed and refused the public defender's office, saying they appointed Jolene Cummings' cousin as her defender. She was repeatedly shouting, making false claims in front of the jury, saying, "Jordan Beard is Jolene's cousin." She was later found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. 6. A teenager carjacker whose courtroom meltdown. An 18-year-old Florida woman, Keandra Cook, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for using a dating app with her then-boyfriend to set up a robbery that ended with another teen being shot and seriously injured. As soon as the court sentenced her to 20 years of imprisonment, her mother started sobbing, which went viral. Reportedly, this emotional outburst was because of the miscommunication with the assistant public defender, where Cook and her mother thought that she won't face any prison time. In her next appearance, she was calmer and apologized for her actions to the victim and family. Cook's sentence was later reduced to 11 years in prison. 5. Autistic teen killed brother in house fire. Jacob Morgan, a 17-year-old teen, was accused of killing his 14-month-old stepbrother by setting him on fire in Rock Hill, South Carolina. He was charged with third-degree arson, unintentional manslaughter, and child neglect. Morgan was left alone to look after his stepbrother, where he intentionally set the house on fire that killed his family member. He settled for a plea deal where he pleaded guilty to an involuntary manslaughter and unlawful neglect of a child. However, he maintained his innocence, saying that he loved his brother. He was sentenced to 15 years of imprisonment, but was reportedly released after serving only 7 years. 4. A father accused of killing his 4-month-old son. Ignacio Rodriguez was a suspect in the death of his 4-month-old son in San Antonio, Texas. Reportedly, the child suffered a fractured skull and severe bleeding to the brain, leading to his death. He was the lead suspect and was taken into custody, where he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of intentional or knowing injury to a child, causing serious bodily injury. As he was sentenced to 50 years of confinement, the victim's mother outburst her emotions and confronted him, saying he was the protector of his child and that she would never forgive him for his deeds. When she started talking about her other child, Rodriguez insisted, saying her to reveal the whole truth. What could be the entire truth? Or was it just the false statement by Rodriguez? I leave it for you to decide. 3. Accused murder repeatedly yells at top of lungs in bizarre court appearance. Damon Kemp, 19, was accused of double murders by his roommates. Police say that he fatally shot Trey Ingram and Jordan Payton at an apartment in Daytona Beach, Florida. He rolled into court in a wheelchair to conduct his first trial. The defendant yelled multiple times, apparently screaming out, "God!" The judge tried to get Kemp's attention, but he was completely ignored, which also made the victim's family members really tough that they walked out of the court. He was also rolled out of the court to offer him a bond. He faced 2 counts of second-degree murder. 2. South Carolina women sentenced for toddler's death. Erica Mae Butts and Shanita Latrice Cunningham, both 25, each received a life sentence from a Charleston judge, 2 years to the day after 3-year-old Serenity Richardson died while in their care. They pleaded guilty to the crime. They beat her repeatedly, both with a belt and with plastic coat hangers. There was not one area of the child's body that was unharmed, except for the soles of her feet. Both of them collapsed in the courtroom after the verdict of life imprisonment. Court officials had to carry out both women as they collapsed, and family members from both sides sobbed. Circuit Court Judge Deidre Richardson said nothing had ever affected her as strongly as the photo of the little girl's battered body. They are reportedly at different prisons serving the life sentences. 1. Anthony Kirkland, a serial killer in Ohio. Anthony was a convicted serial killer in Cincinnati, Ohio. He had previously served a 16-year prison sentence for the killing of his ex-girlfriend. After his release, he again started his killing spree. Over 3 years, he killed 4 women, 2 of them being teenagers. Kirkland was arrested after his 4th murder, as he was caught with one of the victim's watches and iPod. Eventually, police were able to pin all his murders. As the charges were so severe with multiple murders, he was charged with the death penalty, to which he fainted for a while. How someone can be so insensitive, cold-blooded, and inhumane, losing their senses. Well, that's all for today. What's your opinion on such strange and heinous crimes having some of the most dramatic and disturbing moments in the court? Do let us know how you felt after watching this video. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.